Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be reviewing my favorite album of 2024, GNX by Kendrick Lamar. Now, GNX is Kendrick's sixth solo studio album released under his own label, PG Lang. This album includes 12 songs and honestly is such an enjoyable listen from start to finish. This album came right after Kendrick's huge beef with singer, rapper, and songwriter Drake, with many people declaring Kendrick the winner, and 2024 being one of Kendrick's biggest years due to his hit song, Not Like Us. Kendrick had to drop an album to seal his victory in his insane run in 2024. GNX was dropped November 23rd as a surprise release, with only a single trailer posted an hour before on Instagram and YouTube respectively. This trailer included a snippet of a song that is not found on this album, which he later this year in February performed as part of the Super Bowl. Now, enough about what led up to the album. Let's get into the songs directly, and what I personally think about them, as well as what they mean for Kendrick's greater story and narrative he's always been playing into. The first track we see on the album is Whacked Out Murals. This title is referring to Kendrick's mural made in Compton, California, just after Kendrick had secured his victory against Canadian rapper Drake. This mural was completed by a fan. Sometime later in September of the same year, the mural was vandalized and destroyed. Kendrick took to writing the song just a day later, with the first line being, "Yesterday somebody whacked out my mural." I personally absolutely love the somber tone on this song that sounds like Kendrick is clenching his teeth the whole time because of his rage. And it eventually, in the second part of the song, turns into an outburst of anger. This song's instrumentation and background vocals are so well put together and make it feel so cinematic. The disses to Drake, Lil Wayne, and Snoop Dogg were nothing short of great and surprising to hear upon first listen. An amazing track that definitely deserves its flowers, but serves to not be immensely replayable. The second track on the album is Squabble Up. This track was previously teased in the Not Like Us music video, where the first opening lines of the song were used. There was plenty of hype built around this snippet, and many fans were excited for it to be released. The sample this song uses is absolutely beautiful. The "when I hear music, it makes me dance" part always gets stuck in my head all the time. Same with the chorus for its witty lines and the silliness. It makes it so infectious. Now on to the third track, Luther. Luther is probably one of the most pop-inspired songs on this album. It features a feature from SZA, which SZA and Kendrick Lamar have worked before on songs. They made All the Stars together. It samples a Luther Vandross song, which is If This World Were Mine, and it plays beautifully into both of their voices, how they come together. It's just amazing. The song, upon first listen, probably was my favorite. Now it's one of the most popular songs on that album, which Kendrick performed also at the Super Bowl. The fourth song is where we kind of switch tones a little bit. The fourth song is called Man at the Garden. And Man at the Garden the whole time is speaking about how Kendrick, well, deserves it all. And after most lines, Kendrick will say, "I deserve it all." And throughout the song, he's building this whole narrative about how he deserves everything he has gotten, and how his family deserves this, and how Compton deserves this victory, and how he did it for them. At the very last line of the song, as the beat starts building, Kendrick says, "I deserve it all because it's mine. Tell me, who thinks they deserve the greatest of all time?" Now, Kendrick is referring almost obviously to Drake here, and that is because Drake previously said he was the greatest of all time. Kendrick knows that he is really the greatest of all time, and he thinks that he deserves all of the fame, money, power, and everything else that comes with being a GOAT. Now, the fifth track, we switch it back up. We still keep a somber tone on this one for most of the song. This one's called Hey Now, and it's featuring Dodie Six. Now, previously going into this album, I had no idea who that was, but honestly, his feature on this song is probably my favorite from the whole album. His voice is so deep and smooth, and it goes perfectly as the last part of the song. It's definitely Hey Now is probably my favorite song on the album, and I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but Hey Now the whole time. The beat is insane too. First time I heard that beat, it's pretty bassy, and Kendrick comes into it just perfectly, whispering almost. And then after, it builds up to this high point, and the chorus is the only thing that gets a little repetitive, but honestly, it's funny and I love it, and it's a good song, so I rate it. The next song we'll be going into is Reincarnated, which is track number 6. Reincarnated is definitely one of the high points in the album. Probably another one of my favorites on this album because of how well it's structured, and the storyline is amazing. I'd recommend you listen to it for yourself a few times to even grasp everything that he's saying. It's so hard sometimes, you just have to go through a few listens. But honestly, it's such a good song because he'll, as the title says, reincarnated. He shows himself as these different versions of other people. The first one, and then the last version, he becomes himself. So it's almost like he's had these past lives, and now he reincarnated as himself, Kendrick Lamar. And then at the last verse, where he is now reincarnated as himself, he talks to his father, but his father in this case is actually God who he's talking to. And he's talking to God about has he done everything right, and what does he need to fix, and basically Kendrick at the end says that he vows his life to fix everything around him. I think it's really an insane story, and I think the fact that he uses a voice that kind of sounds like Tupac's while over a Tupac beat is just really cool, especially considering that Drake used AI Tupac in one of his first quote-unquote disses that was probably the worst out of all of them, except, you know, the Heart Part 6, Drake's one. But it's track number 7, easily the biggest song from the album, is TV Off, featuring a Lefty Gunplay. It's a song that everybody knows because it says mustard. Kendrick Lamar on this track is showing off, and he's doing kind of a Western, kind of California Compton type of thing in this song. Pretty standard West rap. It definitely is similar to Not Like Us, with the beat also being produced by Mustard. Honestly, this is one of the catchiest songs on the album, and I thought it was really cool to have it be the last song at the Super Bowl and everything. It made a lot of sense. So. Track number 8 is Dodger Blue. I feel like this is where the album kind of starts to slow down, but not in a bad way necessarily. Dodger Blue has features of Wally the Sensei, Siete, 7, and Roddy Ricch. Now this song is very smooth, and I think the chorus is very catchy. And honestly, the ending part is super nice too, where he's like, I don't know who that is at the end, but I think it's cool how they say, don't take it personal. Oh, you weren't the first to know, just might be the first to go, which I think is referring to Drake there, how he'll be the first to go, and there might be more people who are bad in the industry who might need to go, as Kendrick also says on other songs like Whacked Out Murals. Song number 9 is Peekaboo, featuring As Chike. Now this song is really silly, but it's honestly like, it's pretty listenable, and I love As Chike's feature, and I think the repetitiveness in the chorus honestly makes it a really solid song and really replayable. Then we move on to a song called Heart Part 6. Now if you know anything about Kendrick Lamar, he always likes, before every album normally, he'll drop a song called Heart Part blank. So since this is the Heart Part 6, released on his 6th studio album, this song was released in the album, which he kind of also did in Mr. Morale, where he added the Heart Part 5 to the end of the album. So the Heart Part 6 in this album describes how Kendrick Lamar left his label, which was Top Dog Entertainment, and he also describes how he couldn't help the group Black Hippie enough, and he wanted to go off and do his own solo things and didn't want the group to be on his back. And for me, this song is kind of like a stepping stone moment, if you know that song by Eminem, where Eminem discusses how he left D12 and how he needed to go solo and how he wanted to pursue his own kind of stuff. That's what this song feels like for me. And atop a really great story that Kendrick is able to tell with this song, the production on it is out of this world, and the chorus is so nice on the ears. And the whole thing honestly really is wrapped together nicely in a bow. It's a really great song. Track number 11 is GNX, featuring Hida J3, Young Threat, and Peso. So this song is another one of those kind of silly songs like Peekaboo. It's a very West Coast rap song. Each person on here not really being very mainstream, but all being a part of West Coast rap and all playing a pivotal part in the song with their verses. I like how each verse is pretty different from each other, and this song honestly feels really refreshing to hear, and I'm a big fan of it. I think it gets hated on too much. Like, yes, it may be one of the worst songs on the album, possibly the worst, but even being the worst song on the album, it's still great. So that just proves how good this album really is. And for the last song of the album, track number 12, we have Gloria featuring SZA. So another track with SZA on this album. They also did go on to tour recently, and she was in the Super Bowl performance with them. So a lot of stuff with SZA recently and Kendrick Lamar. So it's great to see their voices blend amazingly. And on this song, Kendrick is talking about how he has a complicated relationship with, well, who we can only assume to be a significant other. And he plays out this narrative for 2 verses talking about this, and then in the 3rd verse it finally builds up, and Kendrick kind of starts using some weird similes, saying stuff about, can't, erase our history and stuff like that, and it's your favorite movie, Notebook, some kind of silly sounded stuff until he gets to the final part, and he says, "Ain't no bitch like my bitch, 'cause that bitch been my pen." So you realize that the whole time he's actually talking about the game and his pen and rap in general, and how he fell in love with rap and writing and creating music, and how he lists sometimes in the song where he fell out of love, fell back in love immediately. And so Kendrick and writing and rap have always kind of been in this up and down relationship, but in the end they're always gonna stick together, it seems like. And I really love this, how the whole song is really just like a big metaphor. It's pretty awesome, or like an analogy, I guess you could say. And I think it's a good song to end the album, honestly. I don't know how it fits into the rest, but I do like it. Now, my overall thoughts on this album, it was a pretty amazing album. I like every single song in this album. I don't know if I'd give it a 10 out of 10 though. I'm gonna give it a 9, a solid 9 out of 10. And I'm gonna say my favorite tracks were Hey Now, Heart Part 6, and probably Reincarnated. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know what albums you guys like me to review next. If you want me to review another Kendrick one, let me know. If you want me to review a completely different album or anything else, just let me know in the comments, and see ya.